Your past is a gift. Okay, so in the previous video we were talking about self-forgiveness, okay? So it's not about just forgiving somebody else for something they've done to you or said to you that's caused you pain in your life. It's about the pain that you've caused others. And for many of us, forgiving ourselves is much, much harder than forgiving others. We'll beat ourselves up forever and a day because how could we have done that to someone else? How could we have said that to someone else? And in the previous video, what we were trying to discover is the reason why we did that in the first place. Why did you need to do that? Why did you need to say that to somebody else? What inside of you needed all of that experience? So when you start to use that question, rather than going back to look at it, and feeling bad about what you did and beating yourself up one more again because you've already beaten yourself up that many times, but let's go back and do it one more time, okay? All those things, we don't need to keep doing that. We know how to do that. We've done that forever, okay? We know how to feel guilty. We know how to feel shame for the things that we've done. We know what that feels like. We've done it, okay? 1,000 times. Over the things that we're not proud of, over the things that we think we shouldn't have done. But the truth is, these things happen for a reason. We needed that. And when you find out your why you needed that, then you'll understand how it all came together. The why. Understanding. Oh, okay, that's why I said those things. That's why I did those things. If you take yourself back to that experience and you look at it for what it was, okay, for what you said, for what you did, look at all the ugliness of it if you want to go over it again, but look at it without that feeling of, feeling bad about it again. You've already done that 1,000,000 times. You don't need to do it another time, one more time. Let's look at it, okay, for what it really was, because everybody behaves in a certain way for a reason. There's always a reason for it. Maybe the child that bullies another is because that child that's being bullied has his parents still together. It could be that simple. And the bully, his parents have separated. Then he is caught in this backwards and forwards, which a lot of divorced parents and separated parents do. They're trying to get over their own problems, or their own rejection, if you like, or however it is that they're dealing with the separation. And the child gets caught up in the middle of all this fighting and bickering and whose fault it was and whose fault it wasn't and who's to blame, all the rest of it. And many children blame themselves. They see their parents arguing and fighting all the time, and they tend to blame themselves that they've done something to cause all of this that's going on around them. They must have said something, or, because the parents are already with this tension, it's easy for them to flare up as well and go off at this child for very little things that he or she may be doing at home. So there's this constant energy in the home, it's not a nice energy. And so this child goes to school feeling that way of, there's all this ugliness going on at home. And he sees this other child at school that has his parents, and they drop him off and they're hugging and they look happy and they're together. And it makes him angry. Why does he get to have that? And I don't have it. And so he picks on this child. He bullies this child. The bully is always picking on the child for a reason. There's something this child has that he feels he doesn't have. And it could just be the simple fact that this child's happy being different. He doesn't need to fit into any little box with anyone else. He's happy being himself. And this bully isn't allowed to do that in his home. He has to follow all these rules and has to fit into all these little, boxes to be accepted at home. He isn't just allowed to be who he is. He's not accepted for who he is at home. So to see another child that's free to do that makes him angry. It makes him insecure. It makes him want to attack that, because why does he get to have that and I don't? Why is he allowed to feel that way? Why is he allowed to be different and I'm not? There are so many different reasons why we hurt others or we attack others. And in my previous videos, I've addressed many times the moments that I've, the depressions that I've been through and how I interact with others. In my second depression, for some reason, there was this anger that just made me want to push everyone away and made me want to be hurtful to everyone. Just go away, leave me alone. I don't want to know how you're going. I don't want to know that your life is wonderful. That was the truth of it. I was so angry and so depressed. I was so sad. I felt so alone and so separate from the whole world that I just didn't want people talking to me about how wonderful they were doing. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to know it. I just wanted it all to go away. And in those 2 moments of my life where I had my depressions, the thought of suicide was prominent. I was like, I don't want to feel this pain anymore. I don't want to feel this way of not knowing why I'm here. What am I supposed to be doing here? That doubt, that uncertainty of, just going day by day and thinking, why? Why am I here? What is the point of all this? My 2 depressions got to that point where it was, I just don't want to know about the world anymore. I don't want to interact with it anymore. So anyone that did approach me at those times, they weren't going to receive loving words from me. They weren't going to receive a smile or friendly eyes or anything to do with love, because I wasn't in a place of love at the time of my depressions. I was in a place of wanting to leave. I wanted to check out because anything was better than the pain that I was feeling at the time. Anything was better than that. I just didn't want to suffer anymore. In my mind, in my heart, I didn't want to. I didn't want to cry. With my first depression, I couldn't stop crying. And I didn't want to cry anymore. I did not want to feel that way anymore. I didn't want that knot in my stomach all day. So I understand when people do commit suicide, because you just don't want to feel that way anymore. Anything is better than that pain. Anything is better. But what I do remember from those moments is how separate and isolated and alone I felt from everything, from everyone. And I know to a certain point I had created that. I had pushed everything away. I needed that at the time. I needed to be in that low point in my life. I needed that experience. Because from that experience, as I've explained before, especially with my second depression, after the IVF and it all went wrong and it just didn't work, after so many years of waiting to have a baby. And I just remember when I woke up to it, when I was writing this book and I was writing about the depression, that depression with the IVF, and I started crying and crying. And then all of a sudden I had this awakening, of, wow, that's how people are mean to other people. Because that's how they're hurtful. That's how they say things that are not nice to make someone else feel bad, because they feel so bad inside. Because without those 2 moments in my life, I would not have understood how people are cruel to others, how they're mean to others, how they say hurtful things to others. Why would you do that? I couldn't understand that before. So without those 2 experiences in my life, I would not have been able to have a clearer picture of the world, of how we interact with each other, of why are people mean to other people? What is the purpose? What purpose is it serving? So it's only when you go back to look at those moments that you're not proud of, those moments that you can't forgive yourself for, when you can look at those moments and understand why did I say those things? Why did I do those things? Why? When you understand where you were in your life, we're too busy. You know, we get so wrapped up in the experience, in the action, in the deed, in the words, in what happened. We get so caught up in that we forgot to look, we forget, or we're never taught to, I guess, because I was never taught to look at. Why? Why are we doing that? Why do we need that? Because there's a need for it, or it wouldn't be created. Right, my darlings? So we'll talk more in the next few videos and see if we can clear it all up for you. All right? I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe below so you don't miss any of the messages, and I'll see you, bye, in the next video.